Hello everyone, and welcome back to Marriage is Not the End. The story I'm sharing today is one that I think a lot of people will relate to. Many of you have probably gone through a rough patch in your marriage, or maybe you're going through one right now. It feels like a castle you carefully built suddenly has its foundation pulled out from under it. What you thought was solid turns out to be nothing but an illusion. Today's main character, we'll call her Sarah, is in her early 30s. She has a 5-year-old daughter named Emma. She's been married to her husband Michael for 7 years. They've been together since college, the kind of couple everyone sees as perfect. But life is unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen next. This story begins on the day they finalized their divorce. After leaving the courthouse, Sarah felt something she couldn't quite put into words. Relief? Sadness? Probably both. She thought that from this moment on, her relationship with Michael was completely over. He would move out and start his new life, and she would begin again with their daughter. But what she didn't expect was that when she got home that night and opened the door, Michael was sitting on the couch in the living room, casually watching TV like nothing had happened. Sarah froze in the doorway, still holding her keys. Looking at his familiar silhouette, she didn't know what to say. After a few seconds of silence, she finally spoke. "Why are you still here?" Michael didn't even turn his head. Calmly, he said, "Emma has an exam tomorrow. I don't want to affect her mood." Just then, their 5-year-old daughter ran out of her room. The moment she saw Michael, her eyes lit up. She threw herself into his arms and asked happily, "Daddy, why are you home so early today?" Sarah watched the scene, the words she was about to say catching in her throat. Seeing the pure joy on her daughter's face, she knew she couldn't say anything, not now. For her daughter, she could endure a lot. Even living under the same roof as the man who had betrayed her. At this point, let me give you a bit of background. 3 years ago, Sarah first discovered that Michael was cheating. Back then, she had a complete breakdown and demanded a divorce. Michael knelt on the floor, begging for forgiveness, swearing he would never make the same mistake again. Sarah softened. After all, they had 7 years together, and a child. But looking back now, that moment of weakness might have been the worst decision she ever made. This time, Sarah found out that Michael had reconnected with his first love, Jessica. Not only that, he had even rented a place for her, a secret love nest. When Sarah learned all this, strangely, she didn't even feel like crying anymore. 7 years of marriage had been enough to show her who he really was. That night, their daughter sensed something was wrong. She reached up and touched Sarah's forehead, asking with concern, "Mom, what's wrong? You don't look well." Sarah forced a smile and said she was fine, just a little tired. Only then did Michael look up at her, and there was even a hint of reproach in his eyes. "Sarah, have you been staying up late working again? I've told you so many times, your health matters." Hearing this, Sarah sneered inwardly. What a hypocritical concern. If he truly cared about her health, he wouldn't have started emotionally cheating while she was pregnant. If he cared about this family, he wouldn't be keeping another woman on the side. She didn't respond. Instead, she turned and walked into the kitchen to start making dinner. From behind her, Michael said, "I'll cook tonight. You should rest." Sarah stopped, turned back, and said, "No need. We're divorced. You don't have any obligation to take care of me." She said it quietly, but the air in the living room instantly froze. Their daughter looked at them, confused. "Mom, what does divorce mean?" Sarah and Michael exchanged a glance. Neither of them answered. In the end, Michael spoke first. "Emma, Mommy and Daddy aren't divorced. Don't listen to what Mom says." Sarah was furious and wanted to argue back, but when she saw her daughter's innocent face, she swallowed her words. Fine. For her daughter's sake, she would let it go. After all, she already had the divorce certificate. Legally, she was free. As for when Michael would move out, that was no longer her concern, nor was it something she could control. And so, this became Sarah's new reality. On the surface, everything seemed normal. Michael came home every day, ate dinner with their daughter, helped her with homework, told her bedtime stories. But in Sarah's heart, that man was already dead. While cooking, Sarah's phone rang. It was her best friend, Lisa, a lawyer. Lisa asked if the divorce paperwork was done, when Michael would move out, and whether they needed to notarize the property division agreement. Sarah glanced at Michael, who was sitting in the living room building blocks with their daughter, and lowered her voice. "No rush. Let's wait until Emma adjusts." Lisa sighed on the other end of the line. "Sarah, this isn't fair to you. Michael cheated first, you've already done more than enough." Sarah knew Lisa meant well. But Lisa didn't understand. As a mother, she was willing to sacrifice everything for her daughter, even her own dignity. After hanging up, Sarah went back to chopping vegetables. As she cut, the knife nearly sliced her finger. She suddenly realized her hand was trembling. Was it anger? Or was it hurt? Even she couldn't tell. For the past 3 years, she thought she had become strong, rational enough to handle anything. But now, facing all of this, she realized there was still pain deep inside her. Not because she still loved Michael, but because 7 years of her youth had been wasted. She was 30 now. The best years of her life had been given to this man, and he had given his deepest love to someone else. Just then, her daughter ran into the kitchen, standing on tiptoe to peek at the pot on the stove. Sarah quickly wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes and smiled, saying it was her favorite sweet and sour pork. Her daughter happily hugged her leg, saying, "Mommy, you're the best." Looking at her daughter's bright smile, Sarah suddenly felt that everything was worth it. As long as her daughter was happy, what did her own suffering matter? At dinner, Michael took the initiative to serve Sarah some shrimp, asking her to try it. Without even looking, Sarah pushed the plate away and said she didn't like shrimp. Michael paused, surprised. "But isn't shrimp your favorite? You always order boiled shrimp at restaurants." Sarah let out a cold laugh. "That was before. Now I'm allergic." Of course, that was a lie. She just didn't want to accept anything from him anymore. Their daughter quietly said from the side, "But Mommy ate a lot of shrimp yesterday." Michael's expression darkened. Sarah shot her daughter a look. Kids shouldn't interrupt adult conversations. The little girl's lips trembled, her eyes filling with tears. Sarah's heart softened immediately, and she quickly gentled her tone. From the side, Michael said, "Sarah, don't take your emotions out on the child." Sarah suddenly looked up at him. "Take my emotions out? Michael, why do you think I even have emotions?" Michael opened his mouth, but in the end, he said nothing. What could he say? That his cheating was unavoidable? That loving someone else was out of his control? Dinner was unbearably tense. Their daughter sensed something was wrong. After a few bites, she said she needed to go back to her room to do homework. The living room was left with just Sarah and Michael. Michael was the first to speak. He said he knew Sarah hated him, but asked if they could at least get along for their daughter's sake. Sarah cut him off. "For Emma? What does that even mean? Pretend nothing ever happened? Pretend everything's fine? Or should I peacefully coexist with your mistress for her sake?" Michael's face went pale. "How do you know about Jessica?" Sarah looked at him coldly. "Not only do I know about her, I know about the apartment you rented on Osmanthus Street. 3 bedrooms, 1 living room, $2,800 a month. You've been living there together for half a year." Michael's eyes widened. "Did you hire someone to follow me?" Sarah pulled out her phone and showed him. "No need. Your location has always been on. Remember? We share locations." His expression grew even darker. He looked like he wanted to explain, but Sarah stood up and began clearing the dishes. "No need to explain," she said. "We're already divorced. You can be with whoever you want. But there's one thing, in front of Emma, you need to act like a loving husband. During the day, you can be with your true love. But at night, you come home. At least let her believe she still has a complete family." Michael stayed silent for a long time, then finally nodded. Sarah turned and walked into the kitchen. The moment she was alone, the tears she had been holding back finally spilled over. Michael, you'll never know how hard it was for me to say those words. But for Emma, I can endure anything, even pretending with a man who no longer loves me. The next morning, when Sarah woke up, Michael was already gone. On the table was a warm breakfast and a note saying he had gone to work and would be back before 6. Sarah tore the note into pieces and threw it in the trash. Hypocrite. Their daughter was getting dressed in her room. When she saw Sarah, she happily said, "Mommy, Daddy's soy milk today was so sweet." Sarah straightened her collar and casually asked, "Did Daddy sleep in the bedroom last night?" The little girl thought for a moment. "No. He slept on the couch. I saw him when I got up to use the bathroom." So that's how it was. At least Michael still had enough self-awareness to know she would never let him touch her again. On the way to drop her daughter off at kindergarten, Sarah got a call from her mother. Her mom asked how Michael had been lately and whether work had been busy. Sarah brushed it off, saying everything was fine. Her mother went on, "You young people need to be more understanding of each other. Don't argue over every little thing. Men work hard outside, women should be more tolerant." Hearing this, Sarah almost hung up. Her mother had no idea about Michael's affair. In her eyes, he was still the considerate, perfect son-in-law. Sarah made an excuse that she was driving and quickly ended the call. She let out a long sigh. Even her own parents were in the dark. How long did she have to keep up this act? When she got to the office, her assistant brought in a stack of documents. Sarah flipped through them casually, just routine advertising contracts. There's a client who wants to meet with you this afternoon, the assistant said. They said it's about a major project. What client? Diwa Group. Jessica. The pen slipped from Sarah's hand and hit the desk. Jessica? Her Jessica? Seeing her expression, the assistant asked with concern if something was wrong. Sarah forced herself to stay calm. I'm fine. Tell them I'm busy this afternoon. We'll reschedule. The assistant had barely left when Sarah's phone rang again. It was an unknown number. She answered. A soft, sweet female voice came through. Is this Sarah? This is Jessica. Sarah's grip tightened around the phone. What do you want? I'd like to meet you. There are some things we need to talk about. 3 o'clock this afternoon, Galaxy Cafe. I'll be waiting. Before Sarah could respond, the line went dead. She sat there, staring into space. Jessica wanted to meet her. What for? To stake her claim? To negotiate? Either way, she would go. Some things needed to be settled once and for all. At 3 o'clock sharp, Sarah walked into Galaxy Cafe. Jessica was already there, seated by the window. She looked even slimmer than in the photos. Dressed in a beige trench coat, long hair falling over her shoulders, she was undeniably beautiful. No wonder Michael couldn't let her go. Sarah walked over. Jessica stood and extended her hand in greeting. Sarah ignored it and sat down across from her. What do you want? Jessica didn't seem embarrassed. She sat down gracefully and poured Sarah a cup of coffee. I know you and Michael are divorced. So? Jessica met her eyes. I hope you'll let us be together. Michael and I truly love each other. Sarah was stunned by her audacity. Let me get this straight, Sarah said coldly. You destroyed my marriage, and now you're asking me to let you be together? Jessica's expression flickered for a moment, then quickly returned to calm. I know you hate me, she said. But feelings can't be forced. Michael has always loved me. Keeping him by your side doesn't do anyone any good. Sarah let out a cold laugh. He's always loved you? Then why did he marry me? Why did he have a child with me? Jessica paused. Because I had a boyfriend at the time. He didn't have a choice. So I was just the backup. Sarah's voice trembled. And now that you're back, he can just abandon his wife and child? We didn't mean for it to happen, Jessica said softly. You can't force love. Sarah slammed her hand on the table and stood up. That's enough. I will never let you be together. Michael is Emma's father, that will never change. The softness disappeared from Jessica's face. You're only hurting yourself, she said. He doesn't love you anymore. Keeping him will only make you suffer more. Sarah grabbed her bag and turned to leave. How I feel is none of your concern. Behind her, Jessica called out, Sarah, what's the point of keeping a man who doesn't love you? Sarah stopped. She turned back. At least he's my daughter's father, she said. That's something you'll never replace. As she walked out of the cafe, her legs felt weak. The strength she had forced herself to show in front of Jessica completely collapsed. Jessica was right. Michael didn't love her anymore. So what was the point of holding on? But then she thought of her daughter's innocent smile, and she couldn't bear to let her go through the pain of a broken family. At least not yet. Maybe when she was older, when she could understand. By the time Sarah got home, Michael was in the kitchen cooking. When he saw her, he greeted her casually. How was work today? Sarah sat down on the couch and said coldly, Your first love came to see me today. The spatula slipped from Michael's hand and clattered to the floor. What did Jessica say to you? He asked. Sarah looked straight at him. She asked me to let you two be together. Michael, did you tell her that? Did you tell her I'm the unreasonable one who refuses to let go? Michael hurriedly shook his head. No, I never said that about you. Then how does she know we're divorced? How does she know to come find me and negotiate? Michael opened his mouth, then lowered his head. I told her. Sarah closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Answer me one last time, she said. Do you still want this family? Michael was silent for a long time. If you do, Sarah continued, then stay here and act like it. If you don't, then get out. I don't want to see your disgusting two-timing face anymore. She turned and walked into the bedroom without looking back. From outside came their daughter's voice, asking why Mommy was upset. Michael gently said Mommy was just tired from work and needed some rest. Through the closed door, Sarah could hear them talking softly in the living room. Her tears finally fell. Michael, what do you actually want? If you don't love me, why won't you just leave? If you care about our daughter, why go out and chase another woman? A man like you, do you even deserve to be Emma's father? For the next few days, Michael behaved himself. He came home on time, ate dinner with their daughter, read her bedtime stories, playing the part of a devoted father. If Sarah didn't know about the other woman, she might have believed he had really changed. But on Friday night, Michael got a phone call and hurried out. Their daughter stood by the window, watching him leave. "Where's Daddy going?" "Probably something at work," Sarah said casually. But she knew exactly where he was going. To Jessica. Sure enough, he didn't come back until 11 p.m., carrying a faint scent of perfume, one Sarah didn't use. Lying in bed, pretending to be asleep, she listened as he quietly made up a bed on the couch. Michael, do you really think I don't know? Or do you just not care whether I know or not? The next day was Saturday. Sarah had planned to take their daughter to an amusement park. Unexpectedly, Michael suggested going together. "It'll be nice, just the three of us," he said. Sarah glanced at him. "Are you sure you have time? Don't you need to go be with your precious sweetheart?" His smile froze. "Sarah, don't be like this. The child is here." Sarah snorted and said nothing more. At the amusement park, their daughter had a wonderful time. Michael played along perfectly, taking photos, riding the Ferris wheel with her, buying her cotton candy. From a distance, they really did look like a happy family of three. Their daughter ran over and hugged Sarah's leg. "Mommy, why aren't you smiling? It's such a happy day, you should smile." Sarah knelt down and hugged her. "I am smiling. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters to me." Her daughter kissed her on the cheek. "I love you, Mommy. I love you too." Michael watched them from the side, his expression complicated. "Sarah, can we talk?" he said. "There's nothing to talk about," Sarah replied, picking up her daughter. "Let's go ride the carousel." Michael didn't follow. He stood where he was and answered a phone call. From a distance, Sarah watched his face soften into a gentle smile. "Jessica." On the carousel, her daughter waved excitedly for Sarah to look at her. Sarah waved back, but tears slipped down her face. Emma. "I'm sorry. I can't give you a complete family." On the drive home, their daughter fell asleep in the back seat. The car was quiet. Michael suddenly spoke. "Sarah, can we start over?" Sarah kept her eyes on the road. "Start over what? Start over your cheating?" "I'll cut off contact with Jessica," he said. Sarah let out a cold laugh. "And then what? Wait for the next Jessica to show up? Do you really think I'd believe you again?" Michael was silent for a long time. "Then what do you want?" he finally asked. For the first time, Sarah said what she truly felt. "I want you to leave. I want to raise our daughter on my own. I don't want to see your fake, hypocritical face ever again." "Our daughter needs a father," Michael said. "She needs a father who can set a good example, not one who betrays his family." Michael gripped the steering wheel tightly. "I know I was wrong, no but," Sarah cut him off. "Our marriage is over. You don't have to keep pretending." When they got home, Sarah carried their daughter into the bedroom. Michael stood alone in the living room, looking lost. But Sarah wouldn't soften anymore. Some wounds never heal. Some betrayals can never be forgiven. Michael, we're done. Completely done. That night, Sarah sat on the balcony, looking up at the stars. Her phone rang. An unknown number. She answered. "Jessica again." "I want to talk about Michael," Jessica said. "Today he told me he wants to get back together with you." Sarah tightened her grip on the phone. "And?" Jessica's voice sounded aggrieved. "And I was furious. You don't even love him anymore, so why are you holding on to him?" Sarah let out a cold laugh. "What makes you think I don't love him? If you loved him, why would you divorce him? If you loved him, why wouldn't you forgive him?" Sarah's voice choked. "Because I love him, that's why I divorced him. Because I love him, that's why I won't forgive him." Jessica, a woman with no boundaries like you would never understand what it means to love with dignity. She hung up. The tears came again. Yes, she still loved Michael. Otherwise, his betrayal wouldn't hurt this much. But love couldn't exist without boundaries. Marriage couldn't exist without dignity. She would rather suffer alone than continue living with a man who had betrayed her. That was her choice. Her last line of defense. The next morning, when Sarah woke up, she saw that Michael had already packed his bags. "You're leaving?" she asked. Michael looked at her. There was reluctance in his eyes, but also relief. "I've thought it through. This can't go on. It's not good for anyone." Sarah nodded. "I'll explain things to Emma. I'll tell her," Michael said. "Even if Mommy and Daddy don't live together anymore, we both still love her." When their daughter woke up and saw the suitcase, tears immediately streamed down her face. "Daddy, where are you going?" Michael crouched down and hugged her. "Daddy's going to live somewhere else. But I still love you very much. I'll come see you often." She cried uncontrollably. "Why can't we live together? I don't want you to go." Seeing her cry, Sarah's heart broke. But she knew this was a pain they had to go through. Better this, than her growing up and discovering the truth about her father. Michael was crying too. He held their daughter tightly and promised to visit every weekend. Don't lie, she sobbed. I won't, he said. Michael stood up and looked at Sarah, as if he wanted to say something. Go, Sarah said quietly. Don't let her see you cry. He pulled his suitcase and walked out the door. Sarah held her crying daughter, tears finally streaming down her own face. Emma. I'm sorry. I can't give you a complete family. But I'll give you all the love I have. In the first week after Michael left, their daughter became quiet. She wasn't as lively as before. She had no appetite. Even her favorite cartoons didn't interest her. Sarah saw it all, and it broke her heart. She tried to distract her, suggesting they go buy new clothes or eat strawberry cake. Her daughter shook her head every time. Sitting beside her, Sarah gently stroked her hair. Sweetheart, are you thinking about Daddy? The little girl finally looked up, tears in her eyes. When is Daddy coming back? Daddy won't live here anymore, Sarah said softly. But he'll come visit you often. Why can't he come back? Sarah didn't know how to explain. How could a 5-year-old understand the complexities of the adult world? Because Mommy and Daddy need to live separately for a while. Is it because I wasn't good? The little girl asked. Sarah's heart tightened. No, baby. It has nothing to do with you. Mommy and Daddy both love you. You're the best child in the world. Her daughter burst into tears. Then why do you have to live apart? Xiao Ming's parents fight too, but they still live together. Sarah hugged her tightly, tears falling. Emma, there are some things I can't explain right now. When you grow up, you'll understand. I don't want to grow up, she cried. I just want Daddy to come back. That night, her daughter cried herself to sleep. Sarah sat beside her bed, looking at her small face, her heart aching like it was being cut open. Maybe she was wrong. Maybe she should have endured everything for her child, kept up the illusion of a complete family. But every time she thought of Michael and Jessica together, she felt sick. She couldn't pretend nothing had happened. And she couldn't share a bed with a man who had betrayed her. Her phone rang. It was Michael. He asked how their daughter was doing. Not very well, Sarah said. She's been missing you. There was a pause on the other end. Then Michael said, maybe I should come back and spend some time with her. Sarah cut him off. Michael, if you really care about Emma, then you need to help her adjust to this new life as soon as possible, not give her false hope. I'm not trying to give her false hope, Michael said. I just can't let go. Sarah let out a cold laugh. You can't let go of your daughter, and you can't let go of your first love either. Michael, you're really greedy. Sarah, don't say that. Her emotions flared. Why shouldn't I say it? Am I wrong? Since you chose Jessica, then go live happily ever after with her. Stop trying to have it both ways. She hung up. Talking to Michael only made her angrier. He would never fully admit what he had done. He would always find excuses for himself. The next day was the weekend, and Michael arrived right on time to pick up their daughter. The moment she saw him, she threw herself into his arms. Watching the two of them laughing and chatting together, Sarah felt a storm of mixed emotions. This was reality. A child needs her father, no matter how flawed that father may be. I'll bring her back at 6, Michael said. Okay, Sarah replied. After they left, the house felt enormous and empty. For the first time, Sarah felt a deep hollowness. Is this really the life I wanted? Freedom by myself? Peace and quiet all alone? Why doesn't any of it make me happy? That evening, when her daughter came home, she was in a great mood. She excitedly told Sarah all about her day, how she had seen lots of cute little animals and eaten delicious ice cream. Daddy said he'll come pick me up again next weekend, she said. Does that make you happy? Sarah asked. Her daughter nodded hard. Yes. But Mommy, I still wish Daddy could come back and live with us. Sarah's heart sank again. She asked gently, if Daddy can't come back to live here, will you be unhappy? The little girl thought about it. A little. But as long as Daddy comes to see me a lot, I won't be too sad. Children, Sarah realized, were more adaptable than she had imagined. Maybe time really could soften everything, even the pain of a broken family. Before bed, her daughter suddenly asked, Mommy, do you miss Daddy? Sarah froze for a second. Sometimes, she said softly. Then why won't you let him come back? Sarah had no idea how to answer that. She couldn't exactly tell a 5-year-old that her father had another woman. Some things between adults are complicated, she said. Emma, you're still little. You wouldn't understand yet. When will I understand? When you're a little older. Her daughter nodded. Okay. Then I'll grow up faster. Looking at her innocent face, Sarah's nose burned and she nearly started crying again. Emma, I honestly wish you never had to grow up. Because once you do, you'll learn how cruel this world can be. You'll learn that not every grown-up deserves your trust. Even your father. A month later, Sarah ran into Jessica again at the cafe downstairs from her office. This time, Jessica was wearing a black dress, her makeup flawless, looking very pleased with herself. She greeted Sarah first. You look like you've been doing pretty well lately, she said. Michael has already moved in with me. We're getting engaged next month. Sarah nearly dropped her coffee. Engaged? That fast? Jessica caught her reaction and smiled smugly. You seem surprised. Honestly, I didn't expect it to happen this quickly either. But Michael said that since the divorce is final, he doesn't want to waste any more time. Sarah forced herself to stay calm. Congratulations. Thank you, Jessica said, then sat down across from her. Actually, there's something I want to discuss with you. Sarah looked at her. What is it? Jessica's expression turned serious. It's about Emma's visitation schedule. Michael goes to see her every weekend, and that makes me uncomfortable. I'd like you to reduce how often they meet. Sarah stared at her in disbelief. Jessica continued as if what she was saying were completely reasonable. She said she hoped Michael wouldn't see Emma so often anymore. After all, they were about to get engaged, and she needed him to put more time and energy into their relationship. Sarah was shaking with rage. Jessica, Emma is Michael's daughter. He has a responsibility to be there for her as she grows up. What gives you the right to interfere? Jessica answered without hesitation. I'm about to become Michael's wife, so of course I have that right. And honestly, I don't think a 5-year-old needs that much fatherly love. She has you. That should be enough. Sarah was so angry she could barely speak. How could this woman be so vicious? She had already destroyed her marriage, and now she wanted to take away her daughter's right to have a father? Jessica went on, I know you don't like me, but reality is reality. Michael loves me now, and his future is with me. You need to learn to accept that, and Emma needs to learn to accept it too. Sarah stood up. I will never accept that. And if Michael abandons his own daughter, then he doesn't deserve to be called a father. Jessica let out a cold laugh. That's your problem. You're always standing on your moral high ground, judging everyone else. But have you ever thought that if it weren't for your selfishness and stubbornness, Michael would already be with me, and none of this would be such a mess? Sarah was trembling all over. I'm selfish? I'm stubborn? Jessica, you're the one who destroyed someone else's marriage, and now you want to take a child's father away from her too. What gives you the right to judge me? Jessica stood up and looked down at her. Because love isn't yours to decide on your own. Michael loves me. That's a fact. Whether you want to admit it or not doesn't change a thing. Then she turned and left. Sarah sat there in the cafe, furious, unable to calm down for a long time. Jessica's words were cruel, but they had struck the most vulnerable place in Sarah's heart. Michael really didn't love her anymore. Otherwise, he wouldn't be getting engaged to someone else so quickly. Otherwise, he wouldn't be neglecting his daughter for a new woman. Sarah pulled out her phone and called him. Are you getting engaged to Jessica? There was a long silence on the line. How do you know? Michael finally asked. So it's true? Sarah, she cut him off. You can get engaged if you want. But I have one condition, you do not cut back on the time you spend with Emma. She is your daughter. That will never change. Of course I'm not going to stop taking care of Emma. She's my daughter. Sarah let out a cold laugh. That's not what your fiancé thinks. She came to see me just now. She wanted me to convince you to reduce your visits with Emma. What did Jessica say? She said Emma doesn't need that much fatherly love. That having me is enough. Michael's breathing turned sharp and uneven. Sarah, believe me, I will never abandon Emma. I hope not. Michael, no matter who you're with, Emma is still your daughter. If you can't even do right by your own child, then you're lower than an animal. She hung up. The tears came again. Michael, do you even remember what you promised 5 years ago, when I gave birth to Emma? You said you would be the best father in the world. You said you would protect our daughter and me for the rest of your life. And now? Now you're willing to abandon your own daughter for another woman. You've changed. You've become someone I don't even recognize anymore. That evening, when Sarah got home, her daughter was in the living room playing with building blocks. When she saw Sarah, she looked up and asked, Mommy, what's wrong? You don't look well. Sarah forced a smile. Nothing, sweetheart. Mommy's just a little tired. Then sit down and rest. I'll get you some water. She put down her blocks, stood on tiptoe, and poured Sarah a glass of water. Looking at her daughter's serious little face, a wave of warmth washed over Sarah. At least she still had Emma. At least Emma still loved her so much. She gently asked, if Daddy can't come see you very often in the future, would you feel very sad? Emma thought for a moment. A little sad. But if Mommy is with me, I won't be scared. Really? Emma nodded earnestly. Mommy, I love you the most. Sarah hugged her tightly, tears streaming down her face again. Emma, thank you for loving me like this. Thank you for still trusting me. Maybe losing Michael isn't the end of the world. At least I still have you. At least we still have each other. News of Michael and Jessica's engagement spread quickly. Sarah's friends began calling one after another, asking what had happened. Her best friend Maggie sounded furious on the phone. You and Michael are really divorced? How could he get engaged to someone else so quickly? Yes, Sarah said calmly. We're divorced. What about Emma? She's so young, how is she supposed to handle this? She'll adjust, slowly. How can you be so calm? Maggie demanded. After everything he did to you, don't you hate him? Hate. Of course Sarah hated him. But what was the point of hate now? What was done was done. All she could do was accept it. Feelings can't be forced, she said quietly. If he doesn't love me anymore, there's no point in holding on. But you two weren't even divorced when they were together, that's cheating. Maggie said. I know. Then why don't you sue him? You could ask for emotional damages. Sarah gave a bitter smile. Forget it. I don't want to drag this out anymore. Maggie sighed deeply. I really feel this is so unfair to you. You gave him so much, and this is how he treats you? The past is the past, Sarah said. Right now, I just want to focus on my work and raise my child. Do you have any plans? Want me to introduce you to some good men? No, Sarah said. I'm not ready for another relationship. After hanging up, she sat in her office, staring blankly ahead. Maggie was right, she had given Michael so much. 7 years of her life. A child. But what did it matter now? He had made his choice. And she needed to learn how to let go. That afternoon, while Sarah was in a meeting, her assistant knocked and came in. Someone is here to see you, it's Emma's teacher. She seems really anxious. Sarah's heart dropped. Send her in. Emma's teacher, Ms. Wang, rushed in looking worried. Something happened at school, she said. Sarah stood up immediately. What happened? Is Emma okay? At lunch today, some kids said Emma is a child without a father. She got into a fight with them. Now she's locked herself in the classroom and won't talk to anyone. It felt like a needle stabbed straight into Sarah's heart. She rushed to the school. When she arrived, she saw her daughter sitting alone in a corner of the classroom, tear stains still on her little face. Emma, Sarah called softly. Emma looked up, and immediately burst into tears again. They said I don't have a daddy, she sobbed. They said my daddy doesn't want me anymore. Mommy, is that true? Does Daddy not want me? Sarah's own tears fell. No, sweetheart. That's not true. Daddy loves you very much. He just can't live with us right now. Then why do other kids have both their mommy and daddy, but I don't? Sarah didn't know how to answer. How could a 5-year-old understand something so complicated? She knelt down and held her daughter close. Emma, listen to Mommy. Not every family is the same. Some families live together, and some families live apart, but both parents still love their child. We're the second kind. Really? Really. Daddy and Mommy both love you very, very much. You are our most precious treasure. Emma nodded, calming down a little. After they got home, Sarah called Michael. Emma was bullied at school today, she said. Some kids told her she doesn't have a father. Michael's voice turned angry. Who said that? That's not the point, Sarah said. The point is that Emma is hurt. Michael, I need you to spend more time with her. She needs to know she has a father. I'll go to the school tomorrow and talk to her teacher. That won't fix it, Sarah said. Just be there for her. Okay. I'll take her to the amusement park this weekend. Sarah felt a surge of frustration. This isn't about an amusement park. Michael, don't you think you should rethink your actions? You're getting engaged so quickly, how do you expect Emma to deal with what people are saying? There was a long silence. Sarah, forget it, she said. Do whatever you want. But remember this, if your choices end up hurting Emma, I will never forgive you. She hung up. Sitting on the couch, she let out a long sigh. Her daughter walked over and gently patted her shoulder with her little hand. Mommy, don't be sad. I'll protect you. Sarah hugged her tightly, tears falling again. Emma, you're still so little. You shouldn't have to go through this. It's my fault. I couldn't give you a complete family. Her daughter looked at her seriously. Mommy, can I ask you something? Of course. If Daddy marries another lady, can I still call him Daddy? Sarah's heart ached. Of course you can. He will always be your daddy. Then, will that lady not like me? Sarah didn't know how to answer. Jessica's attitude was already clear. She didn't want Michael's daughter in her life. But Sarah couldn't tell her child that cruel truth. No matter what happens, she said gently, Mommy will always protect you. Emma nodded. I know. Mommy loves me the most. Looking at her innocent smile, Sarah made a silent promise. No matter what it cost, she would protect her daughter. From anyone who might hurt her. Even her own father. Michael's engagement party was set for a month later. Even though they were already divorced, the news still left Sarah feeling unsettled. What worried her even more was how it would affect Emma. One day, Emma suddenly asked, Mommy, is Daddy going to marry another lady? Sarah didn't know where she had heard it. Where did you hear that? A kid at kindergarten said it. Her mom got an invitation. She lowered her head. Mommy, if Daddy marries someone else, will he still love me? Sarah pulled her into a hug. Of course he will. You're his daughter, that will never change. Then, what should I call that lady? You can call her whatever you want, Sarah said softly. But remember, Mommy will always be your mommy. Emma nodded firmly. I love Mommy the most. Even though she said that, Sarah could see the unease in her daughter's heart. And that unease became even more obvious every time Michael came to pick her up. Their daughter asked Michael cautiously, Daddy, are you really going to marry Aunt Jessica? Michael froze for a moment. How do you know that? My classmates are all talking about it, she said softly. Then, almost in a whisper, she asked, if you marry Aunt Jessica, will you still love me? Michael crouched down and hugged her. Silly girl, of course I'll always love you. You're Daddy's most precious treasure. Then, can I go to your wedding? That question clearly caught him off guard. Sarah could see the hesitation on his face. After a long pause, he said, Emma, maybe when you're a little older, okay? The little girl nodded, but the disappointment in her eyes was impossible to miss. A surge of anger rose in Sarah's chest. A wedding his own daughter wasn't even allowed to attend. What kind of marriage was that? What had Jessica done to him, that he could even abandon the most basic sense of fatherhood? That night, after Emma came home, she was unusually quiet. Mommy, does Daddy not want me at his wedding? She asked. Sarah hesitated. Maybe, he has his reasons, she said, not knowing how to comfort her. Emma looked down. Is it because Aunt Jessica doesn't like me? Sarah froze. She had underestimated how sensitive her daughter was. Emma, don't think about that. It's bedtime, she said gently. Mommy, if Daddy doesn't want me anymore, will you stop wanting me too? Sarah's tears came instantly. Silly girl, how could Mommy ever not want you? You're the most important person in my life. Really? Really. I promise you, no matter what happens, Mommy will always be with you. Only then did Emma finally fall asleep. The next day, Sarah made up her mind. She was going to talk to Jessica, this time, for her daughter's sake. Jessica's office was in a downtown high-rise. Sarah didn't bother making an appointment, she went straight in. Jessica looked surprised to see her. I'm here to talk about Emma, Sarah said. There's nothing to talk about, Jessica replied coldly. I've already made myself clear. I want Michael to reduce contact with her. Jessica, Emma is innocent. She's only 5. I know she's innocent, Jessica said, sitting behind her desk and looking down at Sarah. But I have my position too. I don't want any trace of a third party in my marriage, including his child. Sarah trembled with anger. Third party? Jessica, get this straight, you're the third party. Jessica gave a cold smile. What's the point of saying that now? The reality is, Michael loves me. I'm the one he's going to marry. And Emma? Sarah shot back. She did nothing wrong. Why should she suffer for this? That's your problem, not mine, Jessica said flatly. Sarah, you should face reality. Since Michael chose me, he's not going back. I'm not asking him to go back, Sarah said. I'm asking him to fulfill his responsibility as a father. He's already paying child support. That's enough. Sarah was stunned by her cruelty. How can you be so heartless? Emma is his biological daughter. But she's not my daughter, Jessica said, standing up. Sarah, I've made myself clear. I don't want Emma interfering in my relationship with Michael. If you have any self-awareness, you should be the one encouraging her to keep her distance. I will never do that, Sarah said firmly. I will not take away my daughter's right to see her father. Jessica let out a cold laugh. Then just wait and see. Let's see who Michael chooses in the end. Sarah was shaking with rage as she turned to leave. Behind her, Jessica said, sometimes, taking a step back opens everything up. You holding on like this won't help anyone. Sarah didn't look back. Jessica, just wait. I will not let you get your way. Emma is my daughter, and Michael's daughter. No one has the right to take away her father's love. No one. Asterisk when she got home, she hugged her daughter, who was watching cartoons. Emma, she said softly, I promise you, no matter what happens, Mommy will protect you. Emma didn't understand why she suddenly said that, but she nodded obediently. Mommy, I believe you. Looking at her innocent smile, Sarah made a silent vow, she would protect this child, no matter the cost. Even if it meant standing against the whole world. Michael's engagement party took place as scheduled. That day, Sarah stayed home with her daughter. They spent a quiet, uneventful day together. That night, Emma suddenly asked, Mommy, was Daddy's wedding today? Yes, Sarah said softly. Did Daddy think about me? Sarah's heart ached. Of course he did. You're his daughter. Then, why didn't he take me? Sarah didn't know how to answer. She couldn't tell her it was because his new wife didn't want her there. Maybe Daddy thinks you're still too little, she said gently. Emma nodded, but the disappointment in her eyes was clear. The next day, when Michael came to pick Emma up, he looked visibly upset. Daddy, what's wrong? Emma asked. I'm fine, he said with a forced smile. Just a little tired. Sarah watched silently from the side. Asterisk Jessica has already started putting pressure on him. Asterisk sure enough, when Emma went to her room to get her toys, Michael turned to Sarah. There's something I want to discuss. What is it? It's about Emma's visits. I want to reduce them. Sarah had already expected this. Why? Michael avoided her gaze. Jessica thinks it's not appropriate. She says I should focus more on my new family. Sarah let out a cold laugh. New family? Michael, Emma is your family. She's your daughter. I know, but your new wife doesn't like her, so you're just going to abandon her? Michael's face went pale. I'm not abandoning her, you just what? Sarah's voice rose. You just want to walk away from your responsibilities? Do you remember what you said when Emma was born? Of course I do. But things are different now. How are they different? She is still your daughter. That will never change. At that moment, Emma came out holding her toys. Seeing them arguing, her face filled with unease. Mommy? Daddy? What's wrong? Both of them fell silent. It's nothing, Sarah said, forcing herself to calm down. We're just talking about something. Michael crouched down and hugged her. Emma. Daddy might not be able to come see you as often anymore. Tears instantly filled her eyes. Why? Was I not good? Michael's voice broke. No, sweetheart. You've been very good. This is Daddy's problem. When will you come see me? I'll try my best. Emma threw herself into Sarah's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. Mommy, does Daddy not want me anymore? Sarah held her tightly, tears streaming down her face. No, baby. Daddy will always love you. Michael stood there, pale as a sheet. In the end, he said nothing. He simply turned and walked away. That night, Emma cried herself to sleep. Sarah sat by her bedside, looking at her small, delicate face, her heart aching like it was being torn apart. Asterisk Emma. I'm sorry. Mommy didn't protect you. I let you lose your father's love. Asterisk the next day, Sarah took her to see a child psychologist. The doctor said that divorce can have a significant emotional impact on children and requires extra care and attention. She advised Sarah to spend more time with Emma, to make her feel deeply loved, and to help her understand that the divorce was not her fault. And if possible, the doctor added, it would be best for her father to stay actively involved in her life. Sarah gave a bitter smile. That may be difficult. When she got home, she sent Michael a message. Asterisk I took Emma to see a psychologist today. The doctor says she needs her father in her life. Michael, I'll ask you one last time. Do you still want this daughter? Asterisk a long time passed before he replied. Asterisk I do, but I'm in a difficult position right now. Asterisk Sarah stared at the message, her emotions tangled. Asterisk a difficult position? Because your wife objects? Then why have a child in the first place? Asterisk she didn't reply. Some people simply weren't worth another word. That evening, Emma suddenly said, Mommy, I want to write Daddy a letter. What do you want to say? I want to tell him I'll be good, so he won't stop liking me. Sarah's heart shattered. A 5-year-old should never have to think like this. Emma, this isn't your fault. You don't need to apologize, she said gently. But I want Daddy to know I love him. Looking at her serious little face, Sarah nodded. Okay. Mommy will help you write it. She took a long time writing that letter. Every word carried tears. At the end, she added, Asterisk Daddy, I know you're very busy, but I really miss you. If you don't have time, I won't be mad. I just want you to know that I will always love you. Asterisk when she finished, she cried for a long time. Asterisk Emma. I'm sorry. I couldn't give you a father you can rely on. But I'll give you all the love I have. That's my promise to you. Asterisk in the end, she never sent the letter. Because she felt it was meaningless. A man who could abandon his own daughter didn't deserve to receive it. Time passed quickly. Before she knew it, 3 months had gone by. Michael never came to see Emma again. From crying, to silence, to acceptance. Emma seemed to have adapted to life without a father. One day, she asked, Mommy, when people ask where my daddy is, what should I say? You can say whatever you want. Can I say Daddy went far away for work? Sarah nodded. Yes. Watching her daughter try so hard to protect her father's image, Sarah's heart broke. Such a thoughtful child, why did she have to go through this? That day, while Sarah was working, she received a call from an unfamiliar number. The caller introduced himself as David, a friend of Michael's. What do you want? Sarah asked. Michael hasn't been doing well lately. I was hoping to talk to you. We're divorced. His condition has nothing to do with me. It's about Emma. Sarah hesitated. Then she said, fine. When and where? 3 o'clock this afternoon. The cafe outside the city library. That afternoon, Sarah arrived on time. David was already there, a middle-aged man who looked sincere and straightforward. Thank you for coming, he said. What is it? Sarah asked directly. David sighed. Michael has been in a lot of pain. He's been drinking every day. He told me he misses Emma, but he's afraid to go see her. Afraid? Why? His wife threatened to divorce him if he sees Emma again. Sarah let out a cold laugh, then let her divorce him. What's the big deal? Sarah, please don't say that. He's torn. He doesn't want to lose his new marriage, but he also can't let go of his daughter. That's his problem, Sarah said coldly. Not mine. David looked at her. I know you hate him, but for Emma's sake, could I what? She cut in. Convince him to come back? Or take my child to him myself? I just want to find a solution. Sarah's voice trembled. Do you know what these past 3 months have been like for Emma? Every night, she asks when her dad is coming to see her. From hope, to disappointment, to numbness. David lowered his head. A 5-year-old shouldn't have to go through this, Sarah continued. If Michael really loves her, he should come see her no matter what. And if he doesn't, then he should disappear completely. Stop giving her false hope. He's in pain too, David said quietly. Sarah stood up. Pain? What right does he have to feel pain? He made his choice. He should live with the consequences. Then she left. When she got home, Emma was drawing. She held up her picture, a family portrait, Mommy, Daddy, and her, holding hands. Sarah's tears fell instantly. It's beautiful, she said. Why are you crying, Mommy? I'm not, something just got in my eye. Emma put down her crayons and looked at her seriously. Mommy, if Daddy never comes to see me again, does that mean we'll never see him? Sarah didn't know how to answer. Do you want to see Daddy? She asked. Emma nodded, then shook her head. I want to, but I'm afraid he doesn't want to see me. Sarah's heart shattered. Silly girl, how could Daddy not want to see you? Then why doesn't he come? Because Daddy has some difficulties right now. What kind of difficulties? Sarah hesitated for a long time. Because someone doesn't want him to come see you. Is it Aunt Jessica? Sarah looked at her in surprise. How do you know? My classmates said so. They said Aunt Jessica doesn't like me. Looking at her daughter's quiet understanding, Sarah felt like her heart was being cut open. Emma, no matter what anyone thinks, Mommy will always love you. Emma hugged her. Mommy, I will always love you too. That night, Sarah lay in bed for a long time, thinking. Maybe she should take the initiative, for Emma's sake. Maybe she should put aside her pride and fight for the fatherly love her daughter deserved. The next day, she sent Michael a message. Asterisk if you want to see Emma, you can come by this weekend. Asterisk he replied almost immediately. Asterisk really? Asterisk for Emma, anything is possible. Asterisk that weekend, Michael showed up right on time. When Emma saw him, she froze for a second, then ran into his arms. Daddy, you came to see me. Michael held her tightly, tears streaming down his face. Emma, I've missed you so much. Watching them, Sarah turned and walked into the kitchen. Some moments were too painful to witness. They played together in the living room for a long time. From the kitchen, Sarah could hear their laughter. Emma was so happy, excitedly telling him everything about the past few months. Sarah felt both relief and fear. Relief that her daughter was happy. Fear that this reunion would only give her more hope. At lunch, Emma suddenly asked, Daddy, will you come see me often from now on? Michael hesitated and glanced at Sarah. I'll try my best. What does try my best mean? It means, as long as I have time, I'll come see you. Emma nodded seriously. Then make sure you make time, okay? Both Sarah and Michael fell silent. Such a small child, saying something like that, it was heartbreaking. After Michael left, Emma stood by the window, watching him walk away. "Mommy, is Daddy not coming for a long time again?" Sarah didn't know what to say. "Maybe, why is Daddy always like this?" she asked, turning to Sarah. "Why can't he be like other daddies, home every day?" Sarah knelt down and hugged her. "Because Daddy has his life, and we have ours. But I want a complete family," Emma cried. "I want both Mommy and Daddy." "I know, sweetheart. Mommy wants that too." Her own tears fell. "But some things are out of our control. When can we control them?" "When you grow up, you'll be able to control your own life." Emma thought for a moment and said seriously, "Then I'll grow up faster." Looking at her tender little face, Sarah's heart ached unbearably. She picked up her phone and sent Michael a message. Today was the last time you'll see Emma. Starting tomorrow, I don't want you in our lives anymore. He replied quickly. Why? Because your presence only gives her false hope, and then disappoints her again. That's too cruel for a 5-year-old. Sarah, I really want to be there for Emma, but no but. Either you choose to be a real father, or you disappear completely. Stop making a 5-year-old pay for your indecision. After sending the message, she turned off her phone. From tomorrow on, she and her daughter would begin a new life, and that's the story I wanted to share today. I don't know how it made you feel, but what I do know is this: the end of a marriage is never the end of life. Sarah chose dignity. She chose her daughter. She chose to start over. It's not an easy road, but it's one she's walking. And she will keep going. Marriage is not the end. See you next time.